afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Trading the Close. My name is Gareth Soloway, and I'm here at Verified Investing Studios to guide you guys through a lot of market action today. Today, markets actually turned out to be more volatile than expected, with Nvidia earnings coming out in about 25 minutes. Everyone, including myself, was thinking, oh, it'll be a sleeper of a day. Well, it wasn't. We saw the market selling off today pretty sharply. We have rallied back off of the lows, but we're going to get into the details and then look at a bunch of earnings after hours. Today's one of the biggest after-hour earnings days of the season, even though it's after kind of the season and the hubbub. All right, taking a look here, guys, what do we have right here? We have the Dow down 133 points on the day, the NASDAQ down 175 points, that's about 1%, S&P down about 0.5% or 25 points. Oil continues lower. You know, I got that short, as I've told you guys, and gold is trading down 16 bucks on the day. Bitcoin, which closed below that pivot line yesterday, is struggling today, down about 170 bucks. But again, the pivot line was the key, and we'll take a look at that Bitcoin chart in just a minute. All right, so let's get into a couple things here. So number one, we're going to flip over to the charts. This is the S&P 500 intraday. So what we see very clearly is that the day started out with a little bit of downside right here. We floated up. We then went sideways. And then kind of in the early afternoon, everything fell apart, right? We saw a big drop, bear flag consolidation. Look at that classic bear flag right there. There's your upside down flagpole. Bearish consolidation. It led to another drop. But then look at this. If you look at this, the charts actually tell you what the likely scenario is. So you had the bear flag right here, told you it was going to dump. But then look, you got a green candle and all inside bar flag pattern right there, leading to a big pop, and then the market's rallying up here into the close. So all in all, listen, 0.5% down on the S&P 500. You know, that's a little bit of a down day. The NASDAQ took a bigger hit, but frankly, none of this matters because Nvidia earnings will be hitting in about now 20 minutes, just over 20 minutes. All right, now listen, I won't be on Trading the Close for the entire time. I'm going to be trading it live with the Earnings Trader members, but I will say this, we got lots of earnings, CRM, CrowdStrike, Affirm, Okta, lots of earnings coming out here. It's starting at 4 p.m. Eastern time, so we'll get into that. Since we still have a couple minutes before then, I do want to just jump into a couple of the other charts. We'll quickly look at Bitcoin. And Bitcoin today, folks, let me jump to the daily chart on this front. Bitcoin continues to just struggle. It is below that pivot line, though. I'm going to bring up the right chart. I always like to go to the Coinbase chart here, but there it is, guys, right? So here we have the chart of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin continues to be below that pivot line. There's that pivot line we got above. We never confirmed. That's always a warning sign. When you don't confirm above a level, I've learned this many times over, you have to be suspect if it's a real breakout. In this case, it wasn't, and we've come back down. What does being below the pivot line mean? It means it's vulnerable to come down to this area right here, which is massive technical support on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin below the pivot line. If we flip over to the gold chart here and see what gold is up to, gold continues to be down just ever so slightly off of the all-time highs. We're kind of sitting on this yellow trend line right here, right on the charts. Again, I've seen a negative divergence developing. I'm not going to throw up my RSI here, but down at the bottom, you have an RSI that right here when you were making highs and higher high and higher high, the RSI was going like this. Okay, negative divergence. And so what this does is even though gold remains strong, it makes me suspect. It makes me suspect of whether or not they're going to try to flush it out in the near term, maybe bring it down 100 bucks. Nothing crazy, but again, just that negative divergence gives me a heads up. There could be some downside in gold, maybe down to this level right down here, the lower band of the channel, before it starts that next move up to my next target of $2,660. Next up, let's take a look at the silver chart. And again, we're just about to head to earnings here, folks, because we will have earnings out shortly. Silver pulling back, nothing big here, just a minor pullback. And quickly to look at oil, we want to check out oil. Oil is coming down today. Again, the second day in a row, I shorted it right up in this range, looking for it to actually tap on 72 and maybe get a micro bounce and then ultimately flush lower to about $66 to $64 a barrel. But nice little wedge here. The question is, when does the wedge break? The likely probability is a break to the downside. Lastly, natural gas, and then we're going to go check in on these earnings moves here, folks. Natural gas is upticking just a little bit today, still stuck in the lower range. My technical support is just below $2. All right, we got to get some of these earnings here. So far, CRM, this is CRM's chart right here. So far, we're not seeing anything yet on that. So CrowdStrike, nothing. Okta, all right, Okta's popping a little bit here. In the after hours. Not a big move yet, though. Not a big move yet on Okta. Affirm, still nothing on Affirm. Affirm closing around 31.50. It's upticking a little bit. NTAP, nothing there. That's Network Appliance or NetApp. Same thing. You can see this is the after hours data right here. So on the 10-minute chart, everything that's in this gray zone, I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's the start of, there it goes. All right, NTAP falling, guys. We are starting to see a little bit of a dip on NTAP here in the after hours. Hewlett-Packard, nothing yet on Hewlett-Packard. Let's keep an eye on NTAP. Where would NTAP be support? Let's go to the daily chart. All right, what do we have here? All right, first big level. Now, this is a big drop, but 113.50 would be a little pivot low. That would be a level there. That would be a pretty decent level. The other level here, if we draw a trend line, this would be a higher risk level, but I actually like it, the 120 level. So again, note this right here. Pivot low to pivot low right here at 120. So if it dumps out to 120, you might get a technical bounce in the after hours here. Be very careful swing trading it, though. I do think this chart is very high end, very much on the high. You have a double top right here on the daily chart. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's jump to the after hours. It is still coming in a little bit, but down to about 130 still on the charts. CrowdStrike after hours, still nothing there. As we are seeing a pop here on CRM. I had a big level on CRM. I'm eyeing around 280. 280 right up here, guys. You can see there's two factors, a trend line downsloping, a trend line here, and there's also a gap fill right in the midst there. So again, it may not get up there, but as a trader, I have to be prepared for everything that's about to happen so that ultimately I'm ready and I'm not really caught off guard, right? Being caught off guard in a trade is never fun. Never fun. All right, so it is popping a little bit on CRM, but it's still about $10 away from that level of 280 on the charts that I'm going to keep an eye on. CrowdStrike, still nothing. It is down ticking here in the early after hours. Ooh, look at this. Okta getting crushed. All right, Okta closed around 96 bucks, trading at 88. Where's the level? Let's go to the daily chart here, guys. The level, first level, there's an $80 level. Big support at 80. Might get a technical bounce there. So again, $80 would be your first level. Let me draw on the screen here as we go across right there. All right, so we can very clearly see that 80 is a level there. Again, be very careful trading after hours, though. These are high risk. These moves are insane in terms of price action, and you can get hurt if you don't go light. Light share size is the key if you decide to trade this type of stuff off these levels. Again, the levels can falter as always. So it looks like CRM's pulling back. Didn't get up to my level yet. We'll see if it does a little later. Looks like a small bounce in Okta coming in here. You can see Okta's getting a bounce off of the lows down there. Let's go to Affirm. Affirm, nothing yet on the charts. NTAP is actually now net positive on the day, although not up much, but that's recovered. And Hewlett-Packard, HPQ, is still not doing anything. A little bit of an uptick in the after hours, but not much, to be honest. That's a pretty minor move. All right, Nvidia, just touching base on Nvidia here, guys. Earnings, they're expecting 65 cents a share on revenue of $28.24 billion. Whisper number, though, whisper number is what really the market expects, right? The market expects them to beat with a 71 cent per share number. But the last thing I'll say here is, folks, when it comes down to it, everything with Nvidia, I'd say 90% of the whole report that investors will be looking at is the guidance. Is there any slowdown? Is there any drop in margins? How fast are the margins dropping? Are they dropping at all? These are the types of things at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Time that investors will be watching. So again, Nvidia, guys, this is going to shape tomorrow's market. There's no doubt about it. You're either going to see tech down big or tech up big, depending on what Nvidia does, and the whole market will follow suit. I'll be here tomorrow morning in the game plan to cover it all. Now I got to head over to the earnings traders, and we're going to trade this report live. Thank you so much for tuning in to Trading the Close, guys. I'll see you soon. Take care.